Hi friends, it's Becky, and it's time to open up the July 2025 Dollar Bead Box and Dollar Bead Bag. It is a monthly bead subscription. It's one of the more frugal bead subscriptions out there. You get a selection, a pretty large selection of check glass beads, which is why I usually like to organize it into this 28 grid organizer, since there's a lot of the beads. Sometimes the beads are smaller or in smaller amounts than others, so they fit really great in these smaller wells. In addition to the check glass beads that are usually curated to a theme in the Dollar Bead Box, they have an add-on subscription called the Dollar Bead Bag, which is $8 basically for 8 strands of fire polish beads, and it's always coordinated to go with the theme. And so that will all fit here in this organizer. So we'll get this opened and we'll see what is in it. This is wonderful. Ooh, blues. This is fun, actually. There's also a retail site for them, which is not available really to the public. You have to be a subscriber in order to shop there. It's the Dollar Bead Club. And you can purchase a membership, though. You don't have to subscribe to this subscription. You can get a membership to it and then be able to purchase things from it. But at the Dollar Bead Club, everything is like $1 or less. So it is a pretty great deal. I'm just going to separate out these bagged items, get them out of the way. We'll get to them after we look at our stranded items. And I will be opening the Dollar Bead Bag before we look at these strands, but these are some really fun strands, I think, of these beads. So we've got our Dollar Bead Bag, we've got some strands, we've got these other guys here. Let's take a look at our theme. I'm just gonna fold this paper because another bonus with that shop is that subscribers get a coupon code that they can use for the deal that they have available this month. So this past June has certainly been a month of extremes with weather. Some of y'all who aren't used to it being as hot as it is, I really hope you've been able to cool down some. Weather, news, and life in general. Well, I sure feel that life in general for me too. That's why we thought July needed some soothing, relaxing colors. I love it. That is fantastic to bring back some calm into our lives. The only thing we seem to have left out is a cool breeze. We could really use a cool breeze just about anywhere right now. The July exclusive offer is 10% off check flower and leaf beads, and we've actually got a flower bead here in that. Place your order before midnight. It's good until the end of August. That's nice, and then you get 10% off. So that is pretty great. On the opposite side of that, we have our list of all of our items. You'll notice sometimes there'll be an or in the listing, which means that it could be one color or another depending on which box you got. So you may have a different color in your subscription than I have in mine. And it's the same with the Dollar Bead Bag. So this is the Dollar Bead Bag. Again, it is a really great value for an add-on. I love the bead strands that we get. You get 4 strands of 4mm fire polish beads, and they are full-size strands. And you get 4 strands of 3mm fire polish beads, like that. And it's just an $8 add-on. It's super great and fun to be able to get that with what we've got. All right, so let's look at our 3mm strands. We've got matte rainbow blue iris or blue turquoise nebulous luster. And it looks like I've got the matte rainbow blue iris. That's this one right here. And it is really pretty. Let's get this snipped open and then scooped into the organizer. A lot of times with the smaller opening on these organizers, it is easier for me to get it out here on my mat first and then in here. Let me grab my bead scoop. And I always get a question about where I got these bead scoops. I got them with my bead mats, my favorite bead mat. You can purchase them separately, but I mean, if you're going to be getting a bead mat anyway, you'll end up getting one of these fun hobby worker scoops, which has tweezers on one end and big scoop on the other. I really like this scoop. It is one of my favorite tools. All right, then white opal or crystal. So it looks like I've got crystal. And the way you can tell is that this one is see-through and white opal would not be. I like a great, like, sparkly neutral to go with all of these fantastic blues. Whoop. All right, next we've got crystal blue zircon or crystal half blue iris. That would be this one here. So it's crystal half blue iris. So you've got the blue iris coating on one half of these crystal beads. I like half and half fire polish beads because it just adds a lot of depth and character to the beads to have a little bit of variation, even when it's just rotated on a strand or something like that. I like solid color beads too, but somehow these little half and halves always end up catching my eye. So there we are so far with our 3mm fire polish beads. And the next is either medium sapphire or matte medium sapphire. And this is matte medium sapphire. If it was medium sapphire, it would be a lot more sparkly than this. Open ahead of time. And now the 4mm fire polish beads, that's these guys right here. We've got matte blue iris. I believe that is this one right here. So it's almost the same as the matte rainbow blue iris. Got that metallic-y finish on it. With all of those different sort of values with the green and the purple and the blue. Those are really fun. And then matte sapphire Maria. That would be this one. And that Maria finish is that sort of that warm, fiery finish on half of that. That is a really cool fire polish bead. And then we've got blue opal. That's this one right here. It is semi-transparent. And it's got the sparkle from not being a matte finish. I think this is the only non-matte one of my 4mm. That's a very perfect blue color. In fact, I think that is a perfect blue color to pair up with this strand of these beads from the box, actually. I think they would go really great together. I like that there's so many different shades of blue in this. It's really great. And then we've got either matte medium sapphire or matte medium sapphire AB. And I'm just doing a twist on this to see if I can catch an AB finish, and I do not see one. So it looks like I have the matte medium sapphire in my box. If you have one with an AB finish, you might see some little rainbow colors reflected on the facets when you rotate it in the light. Okay, so there's our 4mm fire polish beads. Now let's look at the rest of our strands. I'm going to go ahead and I usually like to keep this in with my box with it, so I'll take the this paper out. That way I know what the contents of my box are when I'm working with it. It fits really nicely just right in the lid on top of there. Alright, so we've got our stranded items here. We've got our Lucerna bicones. These are 6mm in size. You either have opaque light blue, which I believe that's what this one is, or dark aqua. It is definitely not dark aqua. Let's get that opaque light blue right up here next to us. That's a beautiful, fantastic, not quite robin's egg. Robin's egg is a little more green leaning, but this is like a pure blue. Just a super pretty light blue, and I've got a 4mm fire polish that didn't make it to the thing. Let's get it into its little house. But yeah, there are 25 pieces on that strand. I'm going to get them right there in that section. And then we've got some light blue check Droos. They are 4mm in size. And there are 30 of them on this strand. They have a bit of an opal look to them. And Droos is just, it just means a round bead. That's all that is. And we've got some fire polish beads in Coral Beach. These are 5mm fire polish beads, and it is a fantastic bead mix with some of that same light blue that we got in the Lucerna bicone. We've got some of the sort of almost a periwinkle color on here, and then these really great soft coral colors, and then some light mint colors over here as well. It's kind of a cool mix, actually. You know what? I'm unboxing this, and I'm just feeling like I want to make something with this today. So maybe I will be pulling some of these beads out. I don't know if it'll be these ones or others after we're done with the unboxing, and we'll make a bracelet or something. I think that'll be fun. We'll do something quick and simple with these beads, but I just feel like making something. All right, then we've got some more Droos. These are 3mm Droos, and they're multi-metallic mix or teal half metallic loomy. Oh my goodness, I thought these were little 3mm pearls, but it's that metallic coating that is giving me that pearlescent image on there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because they are so small. Let's get a little bit closer so you can see how it's got like kind of a half and half on these. Aren't these cool? What great little beads they are. But yeah, it's teal half metallic loomy, and there are 35 pieces on this strand. I just feel like 35 pieces, I can't be that many on this teeny strand, but they are teeny beads, so it makes sense. All right. Let's get out some more. Oh, and let's zoom out just a little bit so you can see everything a little bit better. All right, and then we've got some 5mm fire polished. It's turquoise silver travertine, 25 pieces, or 6mm turquoise silver travertine. And there are 20 of these. And this is, see, this is a 5mm on this one. If I hold it up next to that, these are the 6mm. So you could get a different size of this than I've got. Yours could be smaller, which also means that you get about 5 more of them than I do. But this is, again, a full strand. That turquoise silver travertine, and I need to open up another section, don't I? All right. And now these ones that look like a partly cloudy day, these are check glass olive beads. They are 5 by 11mm in size, and this is the blue and white color. There are 12 of them on this strand, and it's just like the perfect sunny sky, partly cloudy, white fluffy clouds. Absolutely perfect. That's what that makes me think about. All right, let's move down to our bagged items. We have 2 laser etched rounds. They are 10mm in size. And it's either a star pattern or peacock. And oof. So you may get a different round design on yours. That's pretty. Very pretty. And then we've got a pewter cat. Where is my pewter cat? There it is. This is silver color. It is 10 by 25mm, and there is one of them in here. That is the back of our cat, and that is the front. Let's get our 4mm Droos. That'd be these guys here. They are dark aqua, and there are 25 of them in this bag. Dark aqua color. And we've got some check glass 2-hole pyramid beads. That's these ones here. These are 12mm 2-hole pyramid beads. It is jet blue with an AB finish. There's the bottom side. And then they've got the raised point on one end. And then holes through that run parallel to 2 of the sides. Those are fun. Those would be really fun to make earrings with, actually. Okay, I'm having ideas. All right, we'll make earrings with those. I don't know if we'll do those today though or not, because I started out with wanting to do a bracelet, and I probably will still do a bracelet, but we'll do earrings on a different day then. Yeah, I think that's the plan. All right. I'm getting excited about those. Then we've got some Chinese crystal teardrops. They are metallic teal with an AB finish. There are 4 of these guys, and they are 6 by 12mm. It's these guys right here. They're like a Bracelet type of drop. They've got a side drill hole through the top, and they are very sparkly. I love sparkles. All right, spiral swirl charm. That's these guys right here. It is silver color, and it is 12 by 15mm in size. There are 2 of these guys, and it looks like they are the same on the front and the back. All right, now we've got some check glass squarelets. I believe that's what these are. They've got a top drilled hole on them. And it's either crystal maria or copper maria. And these ones have that coppery shine on them. So you've got the copper coming through the crystal, and then you turn them over, and they have that maria on the other side. So they're kind of two-sided. And again, they've got that hole drilled at the top of these squares. This is a fun new bead to me, the squarelet bead. That might be a challenge for me. I don't know, maybe add them to jump rings and then use them as dangles, or maybe do it in a bead weaving design. I have not decided yet how to use those. Then we've got the check glass daisy. This is light blue with copper. It's 18 millimeters in size, and there is one of them. And then we've got check glass tabular spiral. It's these guys here. Blue marble is the color on this. They are 8 millimeters in size, and there are 4 of them in here. They're just these little spirally shells with that swirly blue color of glass. And then a pewter flower bead. These guys right here. This one's silver color, and it is 8 millimeters in size. There are 2 of them. We've got a hole through one between 2 of the petals and coming up out of a petal on the other side. So they do have an up and a down, but they're the same on both sides. And we've got 2 more. So let's get them in here. We've got check glass butterfly. It is 12 by 14 millimeters. I love this glass shape. It is so pretty and cute and whimsical. They're navy with a silver wash for this one, and there are 2 of them. That's the other side. And the hole for this goes through the butterfly. Let me see if that one is going to be easier for you to see. There we go. There's the hole. So from the bottom of the butterfly up through right between its antennae. And now we've got some check glass Baroque pearls. They are 10 millimeters in size, and these ones are white. They are 6 pieces. And I do like them. They're going to add some good neutral contrast with some of these blue beads. Let's take a look at all of these together. For the Dollar Bead Box and the Dollar Bead Bag. And I'm going to pull out some beads and get an idea of what I want to make, and I'll meet you right back here with these beads, and we will create a little bracelet. I just want to do something fun and pretty, and I think I know what I want to do actually. So I will meet you right back here with some of these, and I'll get a little bracelet put together. Alright, so I went ahead and picked out some beading wire and a clasp from my stash to go with this. And because we've got this copper wash on here and this copper maria on these little square dowels, I think it's going to be a little dangle that I'm going to have on the end of my guy here. I've got some 5mm jump rings as well that I'm going to be using, and I've got some crimps. These are 2x2 crimps. We're going to be stringing it on this copper colored wire, and I'm using the matte sapphire and maria 4mm fire polish beads that came in my Dollar Bead bag. We're going to go ahead and use this flower as kind of a center focal on the bracelet, and then the Baroque pearls to add more interest as we go through here. And it's going to be a pretty simple bracelet design. We're just going to have this guy in the middle, and then these off to the side. Like I said, I feel like making something, but it doesn't have to be complicated. I'm just going to put 3 of these fire polish beads in between each of these larger elements. When we do that, let's lay it all out. All right. That's going to take up about an inch of space. So let's get this strung and see if I need to add any beads on the other side. I'll get my bracelet mandrel out here so we can size it as we go. And I'm starting with the pearls with the idea that if I do need to add any, I can always add some more of these onto the ends of my design. So we're just going to start stringing. Just start stringing. As for my tools, while I'm getting this started, I've got some chain nose pliers and crimper, and then to cut my wire, I've got my flush cutter. So we're going to be using those. I do like to use a magical crimper. It is my favorite way of crimping, but you could do this design with a regular crimping tool. If you did that, just remember to use a crimp cover. With the magical crimper, I generally do not need to use a crimp cover, and I'll show you why in a little bit. I like that. That's very pretty. It's very calming and exactly what I needed after the hectic past couple of weeks that I've been having. So this was absolutely what we needed, right? Perfect timing, Dollar Bead bag. Dollar Bead Box, folks. That was a really good call to give us something soothing and pretty. I like this with the pearls on either side of this flower. All right. Get the last couple of beads on here and check the size. And we've got some pretty big beads, so just measuring like the length like that isn't going to be very accurate for how it's worn, because these larger beads will push the wire away from your wrist. So it's a good idea to use a mandrel or measure it on the wrist that it will be on. And it looks like I could definitely use, it looks like 3 more fire polish beads on each side. So let's put 3 on here, since that is the end that is currently not attached to a spool. I can make sure that I have enough for crimping on that side, and put a bead stopper on. And then 3 more plus enough for crimping, and a little bit more just to be safe on that side. And we're going to add those 3 more on this side. Let's check out our size. All right. I think that will be. You can also, like I said, test it on the wrist that it will be worn on. And that is about the right amount of space for us to still have our toggle clasp. So let's go ahead and get these crimped. While I'm crimping one end, I will keep a bead stopper on the other end. And I just need 2 of these. All right, so with a magical crimper, you're going to want crimps that have a pretty solid wall on them, because then it won't fall apart when you're doing the crimping. There's a little divot in here that is going to be used to turn this cylinder into a little round bead. And I'm just going to make a loop with my wire like that, feed it back through. I'll be attaching this with jump rings to my clasp after I've made my little loop. So you take your magical crimper and you give it a smush, and it smushes down just the corners of your crimp. This is why you want something with thicker walls, because the thinner walled, like brass tubes, they will crumple when you do this. And then you turn it to a 90-degree angle, give it another smush, and then just turn it around at different angles. And as you do so, it smooths out those corners from the cylinder, and it gives you a nice smooth little round ball of crimp there. And that is why you don't need a crimp cover, because it is smooth, easy to look at. You don't have edges digging into your skin while you're wearing it. It's something that I do not enjoy. All right, I'd like for there to not be, I don't want it to be too stiff, so I'm giving it a little bit of curve while I crimp the other end. And I'm going to crimp the other end exactly the same way. Put the crimp on, feed the wire back through. Just my loop. That's too tight. There we go. Okay. And on this second one, I'll usually use my thumbnail to wiggle it to make sure there's a little bit of space between that last bead and the crimp, so that I can fit my crimper completely around it, because you want to make sure it's centered when you do this. If it's not centered, it can definitely mess up your crimp. So being able to fit the crimper completely around it is ideal. All right, now let me grab my chain nose pliers, and I'm just going to use my crimper to hold the other end of the jump rings, and I'm going to attach sorry, sometimes I'm a little picky about my jump rings. I'll hold that end with this, and then use my chain nose pliers to twist it open. And I can attach my findings right there to that. For the ring, I usually just use one jump ring, but I like for my toggle to have a little extra flexibility, so I'll usually use 2 jump rings to attach it. It gives it more articulation, makes it a little easier on me to put it on. So I'm going to put this jump ring onto the bracelet and close that. You want to make sure the ends are actually together when you close it up. And then I'll use this one and go through that previous jump ring that I just attached. and then through my toggle. And then I wanted to add a dangle. So let me add a dangle to this guy right here. I'm going to put a jump ring through that bead. Some of those squarelet beads that we just opened with that Maria on the other side. I think it goes great with these fire polish beads. These bright copper findings. Alright, so we've got the jump ring through that hole. I'm just twisting this closed. So now I've got a little jump ring attached to that. This is a, I think this is about a 20, maybe 21 gauge jump ring, maybe 20. It's not super thick wire, and it is a 5mm jump ring that I've got fitting through there. I don't think an 18mm or 18 gauge jump ring would fit through there, even if it is 5mm. All right, then I'm going to add 2 more jump rings on here to give me a little bit longer of a dangle away from there. Go. And now one more to attach it to this jump ring here on the loop side. And now we've got a bracelet dangle. Perfect. So that'll be perfect for, this is why I want good articulation, because this is, I like to hold on to a dangle when I'm putting a bracelet on like that. It makes it a little bit easier when you're just doing it with one hand to get that through. Ooh. Wow, this toggle clasp is a little bit rough. There we go. At least I know it's not going to be falling apart on me while I am wearing it. I like it. It's soft, romantic, and pretty. And I made it with the Dollar Bead Box. Alright, I'll put a link in the description to Dollar Bead Box if you'd like to check them out. I also have a coupon code that you can use for your first month's subscription. You get a little bit of a discount. It is very inexpensive, so it won't be like a $10 discount, but it will be enough that it will be a decently sized percentage off. And you can explore that if you'd like. Again, I'll have those links in the description below, as well as a link to my favorite, these organizers that I like to use for this box, and to the tools that I've been using. Until next time, my friends, happy beading.